Okay, so one of the things I get asked quite a bit when I do the Hollywood After Dark live streams is like, what can we do to solve the current problems facing the entertainment industry? Is it a slowdown of content production? Is it a forcing of completely grade A masterful storytelling? Is it just, no more woke BS in movies? It's all of these things. People out there have these ideas on, but largely the biggest thing is quality. Quality will always win out over quantity every single freaking time. And that's what we have to remember, is that quality is something that will be respected and will be honored and will be revered. And that is something right now that streamers, predominantly Netflix, simply do not understand. It's why I titled this video, "The Only Way Forward is Backwards," which is really weird. And it's not forward thinking in the way that I like to have my thoughts on the entertainment industry, but it really is the right way, in my opinion, to kind of solve a lot of these problems, especially when it comes to stuff that's not necessarily based around theatrical releases. Because the biggest problem facing everything right now is there's a lack of excitement. And it's not that there's a lack of excitement because the content isn't good. There's quite a few shows that are quite good. There's quite a few shows that are amazing. And there's quite a few that aren't as great as people out there want them to be. The biggest problem, the biggest reason why I'm saying this, has everything to do with the distribution model. And I am referring to binging. Binging has fundamentally destroyed how we view content, how we are conditioned to view content, and ultimately how we appreciate content. Think back to when you were a kid. Think back to, if you're like me, you're 41, you remember like The Wonderful World of Disney. You remember when it was like your favorite show, The Simpsons, 8 p.m. Sunday nights on Fox. You knew when your favorite show was on. You knew when there were going to be these big events. If you're a sports fan, you knew roughly when your team was going to play. You knew baseball, basketball, soccer, it doesn't matter. You have things that you like, and you knew when they were going to be on because you created a habit. You created a habitual desire and memory to watch this content because you knew it was coming and you knew that it gave you joy, so you liked it. The thing with streaming, especially binging, is that it's destroyed all of that, right? Netflix comes out and they drop a brand new show. It's got 10 episodes. You can watch it all in one sitting and then you're done. We've talked about this before, and how binging has hurt the industry. And there's people out there who do like to disagree with me on that, largely because they themselves are a fan of the binging model. But the thing with that is you can just wait a little bit and then binge all of it once it's all out. And I want to give you two primary examples of why I think the week-to-week model will work for the benefit of a show. And this has everything to do with either letting a show cook and gain an audience and also the event factor of it. So we have to go back 12 years to Labor Day 2011. And this is when Netflix got the licensing rights to the first 4 seasons of Mad Men, the first 3 seasons of Breaking Bad. They dropped all of it Labor Day weekend 2011 at a time when Netflix binging was still in its infancy and all of that stuff was just kind of largely unheard of. So all of a sudden, all of these people who had heard of these prestige shows but never really sat down to watch them could binge 7 full seasons of stuff. And believe me, my girlfriend and I did. We binged everything over the course of the next 2 weeks, largely because I had food poisoning. And I'm telling you, watching Mad Men when you have food poisoning, that's a challenge. But Breaking Bad was really good. Breaking Bad is the standout of the two of those. So when Breaking Bad had its, by the time people got to the end of the 3rd season of Breaking Bad, they had something that Mad Men didn't. Mad Men season 4 ended and it was good. And season 5 was on its way coming out in a few months, but Breaking Bad was middle way through its 4th season when those 3 seasons dropped on Netflix. So what does that ultimately mean? Well, it means all of these millions of people who had never experienced Breaking Bad before just blazed through 3 seasons, got to it, and they were like hooked on it. And now, instead of having to wait another year for the nether batch to come on in, they could go and pick it up right now. And that allowed that show to skyrocket in ratings, skyrocket in viewings. And that is the event that I'm talking about. That allowed people to get into it and to really, really, really get involved in it and then start the conversation and go from there. The other thing about that we have to consider is that that popularity, right, that big push in numbers also forced AMC to split season 5 in 2 parts in order to capitalize on the success of the show. That was a bit of a downside, but ultimately it did help elevate Breaking Bad to the place where we got El Camino and we got Better Call Saul, which is some of the best storytelling ever seen in any medium ever. It's such an amazing trilogy of tales that I can't recommend it enough. The other thing we have to talk about is going back to 2021, which is when we had the Falcon and Winter Soldier in March of 2021 that was running against Invincible on Amazon. Now, Falcon and Winter Soldier was the more popular show simply because it came off the heels of WandaVision. It was the second MCU show on Disney+, and that was also going week to week, and that worked really well for WandaVision, which had all of those theories and all of those things that were boosting it up for people who were really into it. Falcon and Winter Soldier was running alongside Invincible. Invincible was kind of the underdog of that particular time. And Invincible was one that a lot of people were kind of sleeping on because when it came to having 2 concurrent superhero shows, most people were just focusing on the Marvel, not what was coming out of Amazon. Even though The Boys was popular and The Boys was on Amazon, this is one that still wasn't quite there yet. So what happened is that you had the season finale, or the series finale, if you will, of Falcon and Winter Soldier running when the second to last episode, the penultimate episode of Invincible happened. Those are because they both premiered Fridays on, both at midnight, at least that Thursday night, right? Disney Plus and Amazon. So what happened with that is when Falcon and Winter Soldier was over, people were still on a superhero high. When they were on a superhero high, they started hearing about Invincible. So over the course of that next week, leading up to the Invincible season finale, all of a sudden, all of these people just started marathoning and binging Invincible to get to the space where they could get to that finale, and that finale blew up, and ever since then, Invincible has been a very, very, very beloved series. Keep in mind, the first season of The Boys, all episodes dropped at once. Second season, they started doing with the 3 episodes, and then week after week, and people got mad at them. They did the same thing with season 3, and it was perfectly fine. Now, a lot of shows are dropping 3 episodes and then going week to week. The reason for this is because they are developing habitual nature with their fans. They are creating that habit that takes time to make and gets those people to watch that content. And that is what Netflix and streamers and movie theaters and studios and all these people have to do, is start to create the event, create the hype, tease it a little bit, drip feed if you have to, build it out there in a way that builds the excitement and allows it to cook, allows the water cooler conversation to take place, because the online space for the water cooler conversation now is really not great. And that's on us to fix, by the way. That is absolutely on us to fix. And that's one of the reasons why the week-to-week model is traditionally the best, and why it's worked for decades leading up to streaming. Streaming turned it into something that became the norm when it should have just been a novelty to boost older shows into gaining a following. And that's how you fix it. Get rid of binging, create the events, start really building it up, hyping it up, and let people come to it on their own and give it time to breathe. Don't let Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or Disney Plus turn into Fox in the early 2000s. And if you were around back then, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know, and I'll talk to you guys later.